What's going on, everybody? This is a special episode. Special. I've got Chris Hemphill here, Senior Director of Commercial Intelligence at Woebot Health. This is like the coolest shit ever, okay? So usually we interview marketing directors at multi-site healthcare groups. Today's gonna be different. This is different. This is AI tech in the behavioral space, guys. This is the future, and it's really timely because we just had ChatGPT hit us in the last few weeks, so everybody's wondering where AI is going. Today we're going to be talking about it, at least in the mental health space. So this is fun. Chris, welcome to Ignite.
Thank you, Alex. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. And a little bit of background in the healthcare marketing space right now. Like right now, I know everybody's like, well, what does somebody from the behavioral health, digital health side have to say? I do come with like my previous role was in the healthcare marketing analytics space in an applied AI position there. So it's just interesting to see the crossover and like be on this digital health side, but still I can't take away the healthcare marketing aspect of my brain. Yeah. So it's just going to be fun to kind of synthesize what's going on in this language-based AI world, and then making a relationship to healthcare marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, we're trying to, as healthcare marketers, trying to connect patients with the care they need. So Woebot Health, we'll find out more about that. Helps more patients get care, then we win, right? So this is fun, and you get to do it all. So Chris, tell us quickly, what is Woebot, and what is the position? Where is it trying to be in the market? Replace therapists? What does it do?
The basic concept of Woebot is, there's a concept called cognitive behavioral therapy. There's others, DBT, IPT, but there's a whole bunch of acronyms that I can throw at you. Yeah. But a lot of these therapeutic methods that were developed within the past 50, 60 years, a lot of these were developed in mind of being able to be delivered at home or at the time of the incident of need. Think about it. Like if I'm having an incident, I'm having a spike in anxiety or depression and things like that. If I am to pick up the phone today to be seen, in many cases we can be looking at 2 weeks out, 6 weeks, 20 weeks, or not even available at all. People having major challenges finding these services. So the basic idea is our obsession is around access to care. So these approaches, Woebot kind of is a relational agent that you're speaking back and forth. It's analyzing what you're saying to assess your needs and then send you down the right cognitive behavioral therapy pathway that fits your needs. For example, you've been playing with Woebot.
I have been playing with it. It's crazy. Yeah, yes. I love it.
I encourage everybody to access it, play with it. We won't charge you any money for going on and using Woebot. So please download it, and like the first thing it asks you is how you're doing or what issue it can help you with. So it's using that it's using your response there, which you enter in free text, which free text is obviously going to be a big subject that we're talking about today, which with like all the generative technologies and things like that out there. But the basis is, and like our company was founded by a clinical psychologist, by someone who's obsessed with the science behind it. So it's using that free text to understand, are you having an issue with relationships? Are you having an issue with your family or grief, anxiety, things like that? And then route you down a CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy pathway, ultimately designed to alleviate your stress.
I noticed he was trying. I said, I'm feeling grumpy and anxious. Oh, which pissed me off or something here at the office the other day. He has a tendency to do that. And it said, do you notice how you're using extreme words like always and never? I said, yes, I have noticed that. And it said, do you feel like he feels that way about you? And it's like, you know what, I bet he doesn't. And then I felt better.
Yeah. Honestly, like in my early use of it, because I'm a very cynical person, and I'm like, what? Come on now. But like when I was talking back and forth, and sometimes you just want to blame other people for the crap that's going on. But like you were talking about, Woebot got you to look at your own thoughts and then challenge them.
Yeah.
So there's this other thing that here's a stump that I want to stand on for a second, is this term self-care. Like when we hear about self-care on Instagram, there's always like, oh, buy these tickets to fly out to Europe to this expensive vacation getaway, or buy this makeup or anything, and that's referred to as self-care. But I think that we should really be reclaiming that term self-care to mean understand, like having the skills and understanding to be able to manage your own care at those moments. Because why should self-care be associated with how much money you're able to spend on things, rather than like developing the skills to be able to help yourself in a moment?
Sure, that makes sense. So Woebot, was it invented to take the place of therapists? Like, I just need this, I'll do my check-ins, or what is it, to replace therapy because we have limited access, or what? Like an addendum?
Because, Allie Darcy, who's our founder, Athena Robinson, who is our chief clinical officer, these folks are practicing therapists and clinical psychologists, and that's where a lot of our leadership comes from. So we don't really even believe it's possible for a technology like this to replace the therapeutic relationship. A significant number of our users actually they see in-person therapy, but they use this as something that's in between, or as kind of like the fancy word is adjunctive. But either way, it plays out in the usage. Because imagine, earlier I was talking about the ridiculous length of time that it can take to even be seen. I didn't even mention the costs and things like that prevent access. But imagine a world in which we've solved all those problems, and the access problem is solved. You can be seen within 3 or 4 days. Still, there would be a place for this technology based on the fact that our usage, about 74% of our usage happens outside of the hours that a clinic would be open. The longest conversations that people have with Woebot are around 2 a.m. So there's still this even with therapy, human therapy resources available, there's still a need for some people. There's people that are a good fit for the tool, and other people that probably wouldn't be as good fit. Yeah. But for that group of people, there's still that need because of just the way that it can be delivered at any time.
Yeah. And it's so crazy. I mean, AI can synthesize voices. Chris was mentioning just 3 seconds of audio. There's some tool out there that can come up with your voice.
Just last week, Microsoft released amount, and I think it's still internal. I don't think that I can go and access Volley right now, fortunately. Yeah. But yeah, it's a tech called Volley that with just 3 seconds of your recorded voice, not even at a pristine quality, it can then synthesize a fairly convincing replica. Not like I was listening to the voices, and then you could tell there was like audio quality issues and stuff like that. But imagine as they iterate on that technology.
Yeah. So my therapist, Veronica, the best. Obviously, you can tell I've kept it all together here for the last 14 years. She's awesome. She could record her voice, and then Woebot could eventually call you, I would assume, and say, Alex, how are you feeling? I'd be like, no, I'm not feeling too well. And you'd be like, have you thought? I mean, is that where y'all want to take it?
No. I haven't talked to anybody about this, but it just gives me a no in the chest right here. Because we were just outside, and we were just talking about this case called, this company called Coco. Sorry, Coco, you're on blast right now. But what they did was they're a chat technology that allows you to say that you're having a problem with your grief or anxiety, and you talk to this chat program. It's a peer sourced help. So they'll send it out to a network of people on Discord, which is spooky, but they'll send it out to that network of people, and then those people will start replying back, and you rate the responses. Like, did this help you? Hey, here's your response. Did it help you feel better? Great. So what Coco started to do was they took the messages that were coming in, and rather than sending them along with sending them out to humans, they introduced ChatGPT in the process. But what they didn't tell the users was that the people responding were potentially using ChatGPT to generate the response. So what happened with that was as users learned that their response actually what was generated or inspired by the AI, they significantly dropped their ratings. Like they felt that they didn't know that their data was going to be sent in that way, and knowing that the response came from the AI made it feel less authentic, that like they had been being had. Using Woebot, I know you haven't been using it for a super long time or anything like that, but one thing that you'll notice is Woebot is always talking about things like, my gears are grinding on this. Like it's always jokingly reminding you who it is. You're talking to an AI. There's only so much that an AI can do. There's limitations there. So as humans, we are rightfully distrustful of like if somebody is trying to deceive us into like an AI is trying to deceive us into thinking we're human. So sidestep that. The ethical approach to an AI delivered therapy is to remind the user of the limitations of this thing. Like we can't do everything that a human can do, but hey, right now maybe I can help you with your thoughts.
I'll say this to Coco's defense, or to the defense of AI, the users thought the responses were valuable before they knew they were robots or ChatGPT. That means it can work.
Yeah. So honestly, I sat back.
Ethically, we should tell the user, but they thought it was good.
Yeah. So imagine if they had been upfront with those users. Imagine if they said, "Hey, we're doing an AI-assisted therapy approach to help our people who is peer source, so you don't necessarily know the quality that you're getting." Like, imagine that they were upfront with their users and said, "Would you like to go forward with this?" It creates a whole different perspective when you know what you're walking into, when the trust is already established there. So I really think that, like again, the messaging and everything like that, like people responded positively to it. Gosh, if only they had done it like with the proper ethical framework in play. We're talking about growing trust rather than diminishing it.
Yeah, and it's those kinds of plays that screw up the AI game for everybody.
And make it hard for the rest of us.
Yeah.
It's a robot. They did
And healthcare marketers, like we help market a ton of behavioral groups, right? How do we need to look at this? Like, so is it like, are you going after the same demographic? Are we going after it with different messaging? I'm kind of wondering, where do you see healthcare marketing going? What are we as healthcare marketers going to need to diverge on to get people exposed to? I'm trying to think, if Woebot was my client, what I would do differently than LifeStance, who has actual clinics and therapists. Like, where do you see this going?
So let's help me dig a little bit deeper into, because I have some thoughts on, like, coming from that healthcare marketing background, I clearly have some thoughts on what that relationship looks like. Could you tell me? Could you just go a little bit deeper into like what you're asking about the healthcare marketing?
I'm wondering how Woebot markets itself, because right now we take out Google Ads and SEO. When someone types in "therapist near me," we want to show up. What does Woebot do? How do they get clients?
Gosh, that's a really good question. So from the consumer perspective, this was something that was really surprising to me. Was when I came into the company, there were about 1.4 million people who have found Woebot mainly through things like the App Store.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not, we don't invest a huge amount of money into consumer marketing, except that if you talk about it, like if you take some designers' words. If the product is so effective and works so well that people talk about it and recommend to others, then your investment in the product is an investment in marketing. So there's a big amount of investment that goes into the product side. Into the like on the enterprise and commercial side, there's a lot of we know who the major health systems and insurers and things like that.
Is that who the main client is? You're trying to get after the insurance company, the payers, so that they offer incentives for people? Who's the client?
The client tends to be health systems and payers, or even like the combination payviders and things like that are focused on, like, if you think about it, like having access to a tool that can deliver care, like help you out in a time of need. Like if you're in a fee-for-service model, it's different. Like in a fee-for-service model where you're trying to acquire like as many services over and over as possible, it's not necessarily for that, but it's more so right now. More so for those organizations, especially value-based care.
Is that the value-based care where you want to reduce readmissions and stuff like that? So the health systems are giving this out to anybody that's been in for any behavioral or mental health challenge, so, in hopes that this...
We can even go a little bit deeper than that because, like, knowing that there's that shortage of behavioral therapists and the amount of time to even be seen for behavioral care. You were asking about the biggest trends a little bit earlier. The acronym that I'm going to throw out today is BHI, Behavioral Health Integration. It's recognizing that behavioral health needs and like going unmet, they are associated with much higher costs in other areas. Like as we fall down, I'll just use an example of depression. If we're depressed, then we're like let's say you're depressed and you're also diabetic. Well, having some of those symptoms makes you less likely to take the treatments and things like that you need to manage the diabetes, and that cost curve bends in very much the wrong way. So the earlier that we can help address those mental health needs,
That's wild. So they're giving it to patients of all kinds.
Yeah, because of like I can't I have a problem. My primary care provider is not a trained therapist, so they don't necessarily know what to do about some of these problems. So it gives a way for rather than these needs going ignored or like given a referral that never gets filled. Yeah. It gives something to primary care physicians to be able to help address their needs.
And does the PCP say this is an in the meantime thing? Go get help from a therapist. This is an in the meantime app that can help you with some of these things right now, help you get care right now.
So
is that the positioning, or?
I like that question because I'm thinking like, well, we should come up with some kind of scripting to help with with how they deliver that recommendation. So
so they need some kind of delivery, and then it's like training the provider on when to bring it up, how to bring it up.
Yes, yeah. So that's where we see a lot of success. Is I personally just love talking to physicians. My partner is actually an OB-GYN.
Cool.
The reason I like having those conversations with physicians is they don't want to recommend something that's going to do their patients harm. Like the fact that they have that much closer connection with that patient, and they have the most serious questions about the way the science behind it works. That's like when you can break through. And I'm saying this for all the people out there that have challenges with their physicians adopting digital health platforms. Once you work on that science and explain it in a way that breaks through, then you drive that adoption. Sorry, it was just like a little tangent.
No, I'm thinking because we have a GI plan. I won't say who it is, but initially they had terrible reviews when we went and met with them. I said, why are the reviews for this practice so bad? It seems like a good practice. And they said, strangely enough, your gut is tied to your the emotional state part in your brain. So often the GI practices have tons of bad reviews because the people are kind of there's something mentally unstable for the clients that have the stomach issues. This would have been a perfect tool for them at a GI practice, so I can see that things go hand in hand. I see somebody use. Okay, where do you see digital health platforms evolving from here? Where does Woebot want to go next? And what do you see as the next big evolution? Can a derm group use this? I can send this weird shit I have around my eyes, take a picture, send it to some derm digital health platform. Where's this going?
There are a lot of people that play in the space of being able to get whatever kind of analytics you can off your phone. With these high quality cameras that we have that can pick up all kinds of nuance. Like when I was presented with these technologies back in 2015, my eyes couldn't roll far enough out of my head because the results weren't there. The stuff didn't work. But I was just at Health this past November, the health conference in Nevada. And I said I'm a very cynical person. I walked into the thing cynical, but then when I saw I met up with with a physician who was also going around touring, making the rounds, and looking at some of these these biological inspector things, and like his excitement was palpable about it. So it just made me think maybe
there's something to it if the providers are excited about it.
Yeah, if providers are excited about it, without me going through all that rigmarole in science and getting a med degree myself. Sometimes I think that's a good thing to look at as a look ahead of what might actually be working. And digital health as a whole, right now, I'm going to speak more from a hope perspective. Mm-hmm. Is that we know that funds are harder to acquire right now. Yeah. Like the well is drying up for all sorts of companies. But what I'm hoping for is that, like, as a result of these funds drying up, rather than investments and things like that being based on kind of like just being based on
revenue,
rather than it being based on like a very light understanding of what someone's doing, like I really hope that VCs get really responsible with their dollars, get deeper into the science behind how some of these things work, and we just get more checks and balances, more quality investment in organizations that are obsessed with the science.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm all about it. I mean, this showed me how much med tech can do. You know, checking it can tell you atrial fibrillation, all that stuff. I think the best way that we're going to be able to prevent cancers and stuff, something came out in a recent conference, I don't know if it's that one, but it's something that sits in your toilet and it does your analysis every time you go pee, right?
I can't believe how excitedly I was like, yeah.
But think about it can detect whether your T cell, all these different cells are spiking. So if you're showing early signs of cancer or something like that, like I think med tech is going to be huge. So I see my wife scrolling every night, and I'm like, what are you doing, baby? And she's on TikTok and just like going through different things. And the algorithm, I guess, is so good that it serves her up ads, but I don't really get it. But it seems like with shit showing up at our door every day that I didn't go on Amazon and purchase, she's getting influenced by TikTok and everything like that. Is there any place for social ad platforms in the mental health space? Is there any place for advice from TikTok? Sounds crazy. I don't know.
Ooh, the emphasis on that word advice. Whoa. I'll say this. What did Ariel say? She said, I want to go where the people are. So we have to, when it comes to these platforms, we have to understand how to reach people in a way that is safe and effective. Because you said the A word, advice is the A word. And if people are going to these platforms and credible sources aren't there, then who does that leave the door open to speak to them? So overall, I really think that we have to be there. That credible voices have to be there to drown out the wave of disinformation that people would otherwise get. And we can see that there's a major potential for that disinformation to do harm.
I could see a lot of mental health providers being above it. And you're saying, no, you should dive in because everyone else, you know who's going to be there? Alex with no therapy degree and no training. He's going to be there.
Because why would that content get millions of views and likes if other than it's something that people want to hear? It taps into, like, think about if you're in your mid 30s or late 20s or what have you, and you've been having issues all your life, or there's just been challenges that you've had, and there was nothing to put a name to it. Well, it's a very powerful effect if someone is putting a name to it. And that same thing where we were talking about how ChatGPT was delivering these messages in a way that was convincing to people. I always wondered, like it proves that the power is there. Mm. So who wields that power?
Yeah. Scary. Mm-hmm. As someone in his almost 40s, I just think of Terminator all of the time, and we're inching closer to them becoming self-aware. This is making me very nervous. You're in the business, so I assume you're excited about where AI is taking healthcare. Anything you're really excited about the near future that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, well, we've kind of talked about it. Like when we talk about ChatGPT, the reason you don't see me saying very much about ChatGPT on social media, like a lot less than you would expect. And the reason for that is like I feel like I appreciate how it's opened up the imagination. I appreciate how it has shown people, and this goes for not just the ability to generate this speech, but also the image generation technologies. There's a Midjourney and DALL-E, and now we talked about Volley, voice synthesis and stuff like that. So people are thinking on a much bigger scale of what's possible. So now, what the age that I'm hoping for over the next short term is the ChatGPT alternatives, the people that are thinking from different perspectives than just language models, the people that are thinking about, well, how can we use these technologies in a way that is safe and we communicate effectively. So it's like now the doors are open. Honestly, we know that. Like I got hit up on LinkedIn for some conversation with an investor about this stuff. So there's a lot of interest that's happening.
Yeah.
And like my biggest hope is that there are some like really strong-hearted ethical players that get into this and start thinking about things that are useful and helpful for populations in all kinds of ways.
Yeah. This is just the beginning. You think it's just the beginning?
Yeah, we're at an early phase, and when I think about like the usefulness of ChatGPT and all that, like. There's some look. I'm really excited actually by its ability to summarize text and things like that. The generation capabilities. Like again, it looks very cool and all that, but there's a lot of work that would need to happen, and there would be. Like ultimately, there needs to be some sort of ground truth. Like it's predicting the next word, but it doesn't have any concept of what a ground truth is. So like when we're thinking about the types of approaches that would work on the fly in healthcare, I would say that we're pretty far.
Yeah.
But like the door is open to at least start thinking about what the path to get there looks like.
Yeah. It's also just like regurgitating what's out there. And so it's like, I think the place for humans is still in original and unique content. You're not going to be able to get by with just regurgitated normal blog posts that, just have a different spin as someone else. Like, you're going to have to come up with something original that is like provider and clinically informed. ChatGPT can't do that.
Yeah, and let's take it to cooking, because my first request with ChatGPT, like this is a real hardcore test, is how do you make a French omelet? So when it responded, it gave me a recipe, and I was like,
"It's not right.
Not enough butter."
What did it do? It just went to Google. What does it do? It goes to Google and just searches for.
It doesn't go to Google. Here's
what is it doing?
So if you want like a really freaky way to start thinking about this technology, think about like when you're using your phone and you're typing and it's predicting the next word that you're likely to say. Think about it from that context. And then whenever you ask it a question, think about how ChatGPT would have been able to answer that question only by looking at a whole bunch of documents and then making a prediction about what the next word is most likely to be. Such as, if you ask ChatGPT what is 4 times 4 and it responds with 16, you think like the initial feeling is like, oh wow, this thing is doing math. But it's not doing it's not taking 4 and adding it 4 times. What it's actually doing is looking at where these occurrences, like within this body of text that it's trained on, based on the position of 4x and 4, what came the next most frequently. It's using this is a language approach to approximating math. It didn't know the answer. It didn't calculate it in the way that you do. There's no calculator happening other than what's the most likely next word based on the previous.
But where does it get like its historical information? Who was feeding? Where was it fed from?
It was trained on. Here's another thing. Another hope of mine within this is like I couldn't tell you the exact corpus of data that OpenAI used. but it was basically trained on data they found on the internet in various places
Encyclopedia
up to 2021. Yeah.
Really? That's what it used. So it did use the internet, every website out there.
Yeah, it used it up to 2021.
Okay.
Like, I don't know which websites out there, but it used a good chunk.
Yeah.
And the real point I was just making was that it's not going and searching like Google for those answers. It's just it's looking at it's predicting the next word.
Most commonly used next word.
Yeah.
So that.
And there's of course
But there were lots of French omelet recipes out there. How did it know which one to give you?
It knew which one not to give me, right? It gave me the wrong one. Like if
Not enough butter, chat.
Yeah, if only the AI was trained on recipes from the South and Chef John, then it would have been much more accurate to my use case.
It has limitations. As marketers, I'm kind of nervous of where this is going. The algorithms are getting really smart. They can write, they can design, and they can speak now. I don't know what the hell's left for us. I think we're going to be the strategists. I think we're going to fly the ship, and I don't think we're going to do work because I think all these algorithms and AI are going to be able to do a lot of work.
We'll see. Like we'll see where. Like again, like if you start thinking of from that context of like how did it know this by predicting the next word, then like. It's a little bit of a Wizard of Oz effect. Like, oh, okay, so that's the magic behind it.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, think about this. Think about if you got a communication from your health provider about like needing to come in for a particular. I don't know how most messages are formed and all that, but on the other side of this text generation speech is all text generation paradigm is like the idea of, well, now people want to know what text is, what was procedurally generated versus what came from a human. So at the same time, you have these generative algorithms. You also have these other algorithms that give you the probability that it was generated by a chat GPT versus human made. So imagine your email platform kind of adjusts for that, and it tells you the likelihood that a human developed that, and you get a communication from your healthcare provider, and your email system tells you that it's not human. So it strikes me that there are ways to do this without copy pasting output from ChatGPT. So like effective ways like instead of write me an article on the need for dialysis, instead ask chat like what are the steps that you would take to write an article on dialysis, and then that would be fuel for your own creativity rather than copy pasting from an output.
Got it. Yeah, you need a heavily revised ChatGPT response. There we go. Man, this is crazy. This is just a crazy time to be recording this. If for Woebot, what is the next big step they're looking to take? I don't know if it's public knowledge. Anything that's public knowledge are okay to share. Where do they want to take it next? It looked like it had tools, relationships, everything else in there. It helps you go through CBT and I don't know the other one. IPT, whatever it is. Yeah. Where do they want to take it next?
It's really just a matter of understanding where the technologies are, and like maybe you catch a hint of it from the fact that I said I was hoping to see like different approaches. Like we have that chat GPT and their approach, but really I'm looking to see who is going to do something that is clinical grade. Because if you get to that perspective, and with Microsoft making that large investment in OpenAI, that could be something to take seriously. But overall, it's like when we're talking about healthcare and we're talking about something that like you're talking about delivering right at the point of care, there needs to be a whole lot more standards and a whole lot more ground truth than what's happening today. So it's really like assessing, keeping an eye out on what's out there, looking beyond just the looking beyond any use case that is like something that like we don't want that chat GPT style just immediate response where it's again just predicting the most likely next word. Like that's not effective for someone's health there. So it's just looking at the different ways.
Something that's clinical grade and well thought out and pragmatic.
And in terms of privacy and security as well, because the way that you would like if you're developing an app using OpenAI right now, that requires sending data to them.
Yeah.
So that goes against our philosophy.
Yeah.
So
This guy Alex, let's see, we've got lots of information.
there?
Yeah, I don't know. Someone call Atlanta. Chris, any other big things where you see the near future heading in digital AI, health platforms, digital health platforms, anything else you want listeners to know?
Gosh, Alex, didn't we talk about enough? I mean, wow. Like,
I got
enough big things happening? I'm kidding. But here's what the main thing that I want to say, and I think it applies to everybody, is that, nothing is inevitable. Like, there's nothing that is happening right now that, like, we say AI, but like part of how even this latest algorithm was trained, there's they took a big chunk of the internet and developed some predictive modeling based on it. But there's also a technology an approach called reinforcement learning with human feedback that occurred. So they got a bunch of people to evaluate the responses that were coming out of the approach, and they tailored the system to match what would be more likely to get that positive response from a human. So there are people involved in every step of this process, and even if you tell ChatGPT to generate some body of text, that is still that's a human synthesized thing. So I like to remind people that the right things don't happen, and that we don't move in the right directions without the right people focusing on the right thing, looking for ethical approaches to do this. I'm not with Coco, So that's the main thing I want to do.
Very cool. Nothing is inevitable. Nothing is inevitable. That's good. Chris, this has been a ton of fun. We got to talk about something I don't get to talk about, which is digital health, digital AI. I got to play around on the app and see its use and stuff. This is really cool. Obviously, there's some kind of bridge that's going to happen between human therapy and AI-assisted therapy, AI-assisted healthcare in general, to bridge kind of the gap. I think if you're a provider, this is an exciting time to be in. If you're a provider that was looking to get out of providing, this is a good time to get out. Because this is going to be a whole ton of shit is about to change in the next 10 years. How you provide care, how quickly patients can get care. This is going to be a really fun time to be in healthcare, really fun time to be in healthcare marketing, and only the most innovative, I think, will survive in both instances. Chris, thanks for joining us on Ignite.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the message and the energy that you're delivering too. Hopefully it's falling on good ears. I'd love to see this, see y'all push through.
Yeah, thanks, man. Lots of Diet Coke.